Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OK Run Show. We're here talking about, I guess I call this week, really week one, really truly
hmm
week one of everybody kind of getting a race. We had kind of week zero the week before where a couple people raced here and there, but not most of the state. Most of the state was out this weekend racing, and we're gonna touch on some of that. Sean, kind of what was the big thing? Where should we start with the results?
Well, we'll start with Deer Creek, but we also have a whole thing out on Instagram and we covered it. So we're not going to spend much time on Deer Creek because there's a lot of other things that happen in the state that are at least worth mentioning. So probably Deer Creek, I'd
Coming out
say.
of Deer Creek, let's get some of your thoughts on this. Let's talk just teams. What were some
hmm
of the implications coming out of Deer Creek? Like maybe who looked really good as a team, who didn't look so
Yeah.
good as a team.
I mean, Piedmont looked very good. Um, which I mean, people like expected, but I think everybody was a little shocked that they looked as good as they did. I think the Piedmont boys, six of them medaled.
Yeah, boys and
And
girls
then
both
the
won,
girls,
and
I
they
think
both.
all
It
of them or
wasn't
close to all
close.
of them medaled. So that's pretty impressive, especially at Deer Creek, where I mean, I think that they medaled top 20, maybe top 30, but either way, I mean, that's a lot of athletes getting in a pretty fast race. And yeah, good. uh, It's good stuff. And what's cool about Deer Creek too is that you get schools that are maybe a 3A, 4A, and 5A schools, and they're in 6A. So it's not just like a 6A meet, even though it's a 6A home meet, right? So pretty good stuff from Piedmont for sure.
Yeah, so the Piedmont girls crushed. It
hmm
didn't wasn't even close. I mean, they
Yeah.
were their top five phenomenal. It was coincidentally the twins run together. They have two sets of
Yep.
twins on the team. Brooke and Claire Collins, they were like their top two. Then they had a
Yeah.
freshman in
Yeah.
her first high school race as their three. And then
hmm
they had who actually was their top returners from cross country. Granted, Brooke Collins had a really good track season. Like she was top five, I believe, at state in the
Yeah.
3200. And like their top female returner, I believe it's Emily Caldwell, one of the Caldwell sisters, is their top actual returner from cross country, and she was like their four. That's
Yeah.
deep. I honestly like buy your stocks in the Piedmont girls. They look phenomenal already, and plus their 6'7" weren't far behind. So if they have someone falter, they look really deep. Uh, they honestly, I think I might move them to number one ahead of Owasso. We haven't seen Owasso yet,
hmm
but our questions about Piedmont have been answered. Where we haven't seen, we still have some questions about like, oh, how's Owasso going to look? We haven't got to see them in a race yet. Look forward to that. They do have races coming up on the schedule. The big
Yeah.
one where we really will get to see them will be RSU, which
hmm
we'll be at covering. So little look to the future there.
It'll be a good
Uh,
time.
boys side, boys side. Mustang didn't look good. I'm
Not
gonna
great.
say it. I'm gonna not be as I think Sean didn't touch on it. I was gonna be nice to the boys that they didn't look good, but
Yeah.
you know, optimistically, you can look at it and be like, they showed up when it counted at state last year and were second to only to the Deer Creek.
Yeah. And it's also
They showed
August.
up.
So does
Yeah,
it's so
there's
much
a
time. Mm,
long time. But
Yeah,
frankly, we kind of thought they'd come out and crush,
for sure.
and they didn't. Like even individually, like the guys that we know that are good on that team didn't
hmm
have good days.
Yeah.
Like they were getting beat by guys that I would have never been like, yeah, that guy could beat that guy. But again, hey, bigger thing could happen later in the season when it matters. And we sit here and we look stupid if you go like, oh, I'm gonna sell my stock. So if this was like a buy, sell, I'm holding my stock there in Mustang. I'm not giving up on them yet. But if we got a couple, like if we got a string of races like this, I might be like, all right, I'm selling my stock now.
For sure.
Individually in that race, Zach Williams took care of business.
Yeah.
Obviously, the one of the more
1524.
outspoken humans, Zach Williams. He came up to me after the race like, oh yeah, you think Dathan could beat me? And I actually, after looking at results, Weatherford meet happens. Weatherford does have a fairly fast course, kind of technical, but 2 mile to 2 mile on the season, like Zach Williams ran 10:10. He said there was like
Yeah.
lightning delays and so kind of just threw the whole day off. But Dathan ran 9:46 for 2 miles. In high school, when I believe we ran that race, the year I ran 15:31, I ran like 10:08 on that course. Now they may have changed the course. It may be faster, slower. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the year I ran 15:30 was, I believe, the same year that there I ran like 10:08 or something. So Dathan Custer's fit.
Pretty
And I
dang
don't
fast.
think, like, everybody's like, oh man, Zach Williams is the best guy in the state now. I mean, he beat all the other guys that we thought
Yeah.
were best guys in the state. So
It's also,
until proven
it's in
otherwise,
August, kind of like we
you can
said. It's
keep you
tough.
can keep claiming it. And I will say, like, keep claiming it, keep taking scalps there, Zach, keep beating really good competition. But so far, if we had an entire class power ranking, I
Hmm.
still might put Dominic Matthias at number one because he beat him. He beat Zach handedly.
Yeah.
And Dominic Matthias was at the same meet. He had to deal with the same, like, hassles
Same thing.
of probably warming up once, lightning delay, warm up again, lightning delay. So, and he took care of business and smoked Zach Williams there. Dominic Matthias at More War Run. Tell the people about how that went.
Well, I believe he ran 15:44, might be off by a second or two. Um, I mean, we weren't at that race, so it's tough for Colin and I to you know, really tell you exactly what happened because if I'm not there seeing it, I don't know. But either way, I've never been to that course, which is tough in cross too because sometimes courses are long, sometimes they're short.
And I had no
People
idea.
claim different
Yeah.
things. But either way, he won in 15:44. So even if you want to give or take a few seconds, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You could even say he ran 16 flat, but it's like that's still an incredible start to a season, especially coming off, I believe, a 9:40 something 2 mile that,
9:47 the week before.
last
Yes.
week too.
Mm-hmm.
So
So he
you
looks
can't
really
really
good.
claim, yeah, and you can't really claim like it's a fluke either, I feel like, because he had a great season when he was in eighth grade. And
He had a good
he's coming
summer.
into this season. He had a great summer. He's coming
Mm-hmm.
into this season, and you don't run 9:40 something on a cross country course, and then the next week run 15:44, and it's a fluke. So he did
Mm-hmm.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how he does rest season,
I'm looking forward to him getting to kind of race the other 6A guys. Like, I want to see him versus like Mesbarth. Now I
especially because
think
and
now
when
I
he
will
gets in a
say
very competitive meet too, that
my
can be tough for a
yeah.
freshman. So
Well, my prediction is kid's been running hard all summer.
yeah,
Like, I don't, and I hope this doesn't happen, but the wheels could fall off.
yeah,
He's been running
yeah.
hard. He ran really well.
Does
Track 5K in like July, right? That's
I think so?
when the
Yeah.
Tracksmith Twilight 5K in OKC happened. He
Something
ran
like
really
that.
fast there in like super hot weather. And like, I know he ran a bunch of AAU over the summer. I don't know who necessarily coaches him, who trains him. I don't know if he's in good hands, not good hands, but
Hmm.
he's crushing it right now. And I hope the
Yeah.
momentum just carries all the way to state because that makes state very interesting. Because
Hmm.
honestly, he looks like he could be in contention for the individual title. But if
I
the
agree.
wheels fall off, a guy that I think, because of how consistent he is, Mez Barth,
Yeah.
you're never gonna get, now you're not gonna get a big swing out of Mez Barth. I don't think Mez Barth is gonna all of a sudden next week go run 15:10.
Yeah.
But I could see him going down to like 15:25,
Hmm.
15:20, keep moving
And it's
down.
every meet too.
But
He's
he's
always
like,
up
he's
there, and
always
he'll
there.
always
He's
be in contention.
always in contention. And honestly, when state matters, he shows up and runs well.
And
He
he's a
should
senior, so he's
senior,
had
he's got experience.
4 years
And
more or
again, like,
less of
I'm
experience.
yeah, and I'm less worried about like Mez Barth, I know what I'm getting.
Hmm.
Matthias by the end of the season, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it is a long season. Like we were saying, the long season plays into the benefit of Mustang, even though they didn't
Yeah.
look good. Like Noah Thayer didn't look good, Cam Langdon didn't look good, Tia Nelson didn't look that good. None of their guys that we expect to be guys looked the way we'd expect them to look.
Hmm.
But we have a long season, which is good because
Yeah.
hey, they may peak at the right time and they're going to win state, and we're all going to look silly for even having a shadow of doubt right
Exactly.
now. Um, but it's a long season, so that plays a little bit against someone who did run a lot in the summer, like competitive racing in the summer. Eventually, the wheels do come off,
Hmm.
but I just hope he's some super freak that the wheels just don't.
Yeah.
Like the
Be
wheels can
awesome.
come off. Like I think state's what, November 4th. They can come off
Second.
November 5th.
Yeah.
Second, yeah, I don't.
So
They can
same
come
day.
off the day after. I
Hmm.
don't care. But if he can show up to state and he can crush, that's all I care.
Yeah.
Um, Other big things kind of around the state, I'd say to touch on. Hooker looked really good. They handedly beat Guyman on the men's team.
Hmm.
Their women's team also looked very solid. They're
Yeah.
favorites in both their divisions. That really their only competition is going to be Regent Prep. Some other, I think, big races that happened. I think Bing looked pretty good at their meet, not their home
Hmm.
meet, some other meet they went to. Haven't got to see Lincoln Christian yet. That could be interesting for 4A. Now, again, one of the more outspoken guys in the state, and he may come across as like, you know, big, big head.
Yeah.
He actually is nice. He just likes to kind of like play the act of being the heel. Like
Hmm.
he's not always just this like super cocky athlete. Like he actually is a nice guy. If you like go talk to Zach Williams, he's
Yeah.
actually a decent human being. But he did say Lincoln Christian's done. Like they're gonna beat Lincoln Christian. We haven't seen Lincoln Christian yet. Lincoln Christian, I'm sorry. I think 4A they've got it kind of wrapped up on both
I mean, it's
sides.
definitely hard to bet against them, but
It's hard to bet
it's
against them, especially I
it's a
think their
long
men.
season, so
I
we'll
think you can bet against them in their women's team. We'll talk about that when we move to my little article about the women here in a minute.
Mhm.
Sean, what are some of the things to kind of look forward to in the kind of the coming week? Um,
Well, I know Owasso has a race coming up at their home course. It's not a 5K, but it's still a pretty fun event. If you're in the area, it's fun to go
mhm.
watch that one. I believe it's a mile and a half, and they have teams of four, so it's like a 4x8, but it's like a 4 by mile and a half. It's cool.
Oh, it's their relay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, okay, it's
that's
the
always
relay
a
meet.
fun race. And I mean, although it won't tell us too
Oh,
much
I'm all
about
for those.
Owasso, it's still hopefully when we'll see them run and just
Mhm.
kind of see what some of their athletes can pull off. That'll be good. And then we've got Rogers State September 5th, which Colin and I will be at. That will also be, I believe it's a 3 mile. So we won't see a
Mhm.
full 5K, but
I don't care.
conversions aren't that hard. Like, who cares what they
It
actually mean?
times don't matter. They
Yeah. So
just don't.
it'll more so, and I actually have the start list for that meet. I don't want to have to go spend the time to try to find it, but I know I have it somewhere. And we'll post it we'll post on the site eventually. But I remember there being a lot of like talent from A up to 6A. It wasn't just like okay, here's your Tulsa based 6A schools, Jinx, BA Union. There was a lot of top down like talent. So that'll be very entertaining to see.
Do you know if they're splitting like
There
small
is a
school, large
smaller
school?
school
Like, are they doing
division.
like two different divisions there?
There's a smaller school division, but there's also I remember seeing some of the like I imagine it being like Deer Creek, where some of the like varsity teams that might not be as strong compete in like the emerging
Yeah.
varsity, but then you'll
Mhm.
get like maybe a kid or two from like I don't know Regent will compete with the big schools. So we'll have to see. I don't have like I just have the team entry, so I don't know
Mhm.
about the
I
exact
do
stuff.
hope they split them more that
Yeah.
way,
Hmm.
rather than I always have beef as a former small school guy.
Yeah.
I always have beef with splitting small school, large school.
Hmm.
I don't mind as much for the girls, especially as you get kind of later in the season, because
They're
small
gonna
school
run two
girls
miles.
do run 2 miles. So like I'm kind of okay with that. But especially on the guy side, if you have the chance for a good 3A team to race good
Mhm.
6A teams, I don't care. Throw them in there. Let
Yeah,
let them
I
let them
agree.
run. Let them run in there. Let
I
them.
agree.
It makes it more interesting because I don't want to see two kind of watered down fields. I'd rather see
Hmm.
one really good field and one like pretty subpar. I then that means I only have to look at really
Yeah,
one essentially heat.
exactly.
Um, yeah, so those are kind of the big things coming up for us, especially because we will be at Rogers. Some other big meets probably happening. I don't have the full calendar in front of me, nor do I know where everybody's racing to be like, oh yeah, this meet will be
I'm
good.
sure there'll be something in the OKC Metro,
I'm sure there'll be a
but
Metro
I haven't
meet.
looked exactly about what that might be.
Yeah, And the
Might
good
be
thing
a
with,
Mustang meet, maybe
yeah,
might be happening.
now the good and the bad of kind of the RSU meet is it's a Thursday, which is just
Yeah.
kind of tough for high school because the kids do have to go to school the next day.
And it's at night
It's at night,
under the lights, so
which
it's a
can
long
be
day.
kind of, which can also play into their favor because it's after
Hmm.
school, so you don't really have to worry much about like skipping school.
Yeah.
But if you're an OKC school or somewhere in the western or southern
Hmm.
part of the state, far from Rogers, that's a long night. And
Yeah.
so you're probably not going to have that. So there's some benefits to the Thursday because you're also not competing
Mhm.
really against taking athletes from trying to get schools to be convinced to come.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I think it'll be great racing all
What
around.
adds to
Also,
it too is if it's like last year, I believe the colleges will
yeah,
also
they do.
compete,
I believe.
and there's a lot of Oklahoma kids
Yeah,
that will be
a lot of
there that are in
former.
college that
Yep.
are racing because a lot of Oklahoma kids will go to the schools that would be at that race.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. A lot of
that's
your.
always entertaining. It's kind of like Cowboy Jamboree Light, where you see a lot of friends that you may have not seen in a while if
Yeah.
you're like in college and you're
If you're
not.
old like us and have friends that are
Yeah,
still
you'll
in
see a lot
college,
of people you haven't seen in a while, and RSU is very similar, just not quite as big. So
sure, that's Cowboy Jamboree Light is I love that. That's so
yeah.
funny. But hey, OSU does have meet on their course if you're happen to be in Stillwater for some reason. They also have a meet this weekend, where you'll
Cowboy
see
preview
you'll
Friday.
see the OSU C teams run 5K.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they won't run any of their probably top guys, maybe one or two, maybe probably not even. They'll run like one guy that may be like their 10th best guy. That'll
From
probably
what
be
I've
about it.
heard, yeah, they're not gonna run their top
You'll
people.
maybe run a 10th best on men or women. I think women maybe they're more likely to because there's a lot more uncertainty of who's their top
I
seven.
don't believe that they're running like
But I
any of
still,
their
well, they
top
won't
people.
run like their top, like the girls they know are top seven, they
Yeah,
won't. But if there's like a couple girls that they're like unsure of, they
maybe.
may kind of throw them out there and see. Um, but moving on, last week I touched on kind of a little bit of every class on the boys' side. I'm gonna
Hmm.
come back. We're doing it on the girls' side this week. I didn't have an article finished for the girls last week, but I do this week. So hey, here we are. I'm gonna kind
Let's
of rip
go.
through. Everybody's gonna get a little bit of a idea of kind of what the girls' scene looks like. Sean, can you see my screen? You're my only verification that I'm actually
Yes,
seeing my
sir.
screen. Awesome. So this is again top 20 by class. Gonna rip through with a little bit of what I had to say about it. Moving to Class A. Class A, obviously, is our new class. They only score 4. You can run up to 6 at the state meet. Um, Southwest Covenant, I do believe, is your number one team. I'm strongly in the Southwest Covenant camp. They raced over the weekend. Both their men and women looked great. And I really think Southwest Covenant might make a run in both the men's and the women's division. So look out for them when you see that.
Southwest Covenant would win 6A. Book it.
No. Um, but individually, I think the girls' class actually is a lot more open than this says, and probably than the article says. Actually, it does say that. It says runaway favorite is this girl from Boise City. She raced at Guyman this week. She was their second runner from Boise City. She had a freshman, I believe, freshman teammate. No, maybe sophomore teammate. Beat her quite handedly, ran like 12:50 high. Her teammate did. She ran like 13:30. So girls individually side, A, up in the air. We'll see how it goes. Move into 2A. This one, we haven't seen the Regent Prep girls. I don't know how Lucy O'Dea looks. She was really good in track in the 3200. She went out and crushed. She was like second in the mile, second like in the 800, ran a leg of the 4x8. Really was a workhorse the state meet. 1209s, she ran last year at the state in 2A, or not 2A, 4A. Ran 4A. I think she could be the favorite. We'll see how fit she is when she does race. Isabella Neville, she won that Guyman meet on the girls' side. Hooker girls look good. They're always phenomenal. I believe this will make it 4 straight for the Hooker girls if they can pull off the win this year in 2A. Moving to 3A, Metro Christian, I believe, is your team to look out for. Cassidy's also quite good. But Riley Hodges, I don't believe I got to see how she raced. But I believe this Jaden Alexander has raced and she won her opener. Looking very good. Addison Pecha here from Chisholm High School. She has raced twice this season. She's undefeated so far this season. She's kind of a dark horse pick there. Bailey Tapley is no longer at Bethel. She was a girl that kind of came alive at the state track meet. Like she finished really high. I believe I have it up here, what she managed to do. She won the 1600 and was second in the 800 at the state track meet. I thought like, hey, if she's close late, she's at Choctaw now. She's in 6A. So she's 6A's problem, no longer 3A's problem. 4A. 4A actually is quite interesting. I think this might be the most competitive girls division so far. I think this one has the most chance for really it's a head-to-head battle, and it's a head-to-head battle in both individually and as a team. Lincoln Christian's back. They will not show up in this 3,200-meter list, so I added a little 5K list just below them. It's literally just the 5 returning girls from Lincoln Christian.
Yeah.
You have a really strong battle, both individually. So Kenzie Riedenauer, the defending state champ, and her twin sister, Kira Riedenauer, they were really close to the state meet last year. They have very similar PBs to Tennyson Housley, who's Lincoln Christian's number 1. I could see it going some mixture of those two, Tennyson, and then Bailey Woldrich, who is Lincoln Christian's number 2, assuming everybody's fit and healthy and good. Halls Valley, they return the top 3. And we actually got to see this Cash Girl run. She was like top 10 at the Deer Creek meet. That's how good this class is in 4A. 4A girls is very good. I think it's Pauls Valley. It's Lincoln Christian. One of them is going to come out on top. They both, have history of being quite good. I believe the Pauls Valley women won last year. I believe Isabella Gutierrez is your like 4A state champion in the 800. She's got some foot speed too. So like, it's going to be close. It really is. I think Lincoln Christian has 2 girls that could kind of mix up with these 2 girls. But then Isabel Gutierrez is, I think, far better than the number 3 from Lincoln Christian. And then look at here. Number 9 is another Pauls Valley girl. And then I believe they have another one quite close as well. Here's your 5K with Tennyson, Bailey. And actually the times convert to roughly similar from the state meet course last year. Their track times were very, very similar at state last year. It's going to be a close race. You can flip a coin, and that's probably about as good as your odds are for either team. 5A. I believe this is Bishop Kelly's to lose, and I believe this is Gwyn Myers to lose. Gwyn Myers can race that race any way she wants and probably win it. She has foot speed at 800. She's strong at 5K. She handed like a lot of really good 6A girls a loss this week at Deer Creek. She looked really good. She actually PB'd. She ran like 18:10. So we know she's fit right now. I don't imagine she's a senior. We know what we're getting out of her. And we know she always is strong when it matters. She'll be there. She'll probably win. I think they're kind of a shoe-in as well as a team. Thomas Edison actually has looked okay, but they really only have 2 girls. Other than that, I don't really see a team that can touch Bishop Kelly for now. 6A, moving over here. Bella Nelson's kind of the class of the field. Natalie Dugan is a closer than you'd think second, really, realistically. She's quite good. I think those 2 and the returning results, it shows it. They are almost a minute faster from the last year's state meet. They both did really well in the track season. Their PBs are all much faster than the other girls in the of the returners. Team battle could be more interesting than the individual battle. Also, the battle for the individual spots between 3 and 10. I think there's a lot of girls that can make an argument. There's a lot of girls that are very good. Piedmont girls look really, really strong right now. And I honestly want to put them power ranking number 1 over Owasso, which is crazy because Owasso is the top returning team. And I believe they returned the 1st, 10th, 13th, 14th, 27th, and 30th best returners. That's who they return. They return, is that what, 6 girls?
And I believe their transfer place top 15.
I'm getting there.
All right.
6 girls. They returned 6 girls in the top 30. And I have this wrong in the article because I thought she was going to Jinx for some reason. Ava Cornelius is the 7th best returner. So realistically, they return 1, 7, 10, 13, and 14. That is their top 5. Piedmont returns 4, 6, 9, 16th, and they needed to find a 5. Well, they found a 3. So split the difference there. It's going to be a close race. And I really want to see them race, but I don't want to see them race actually. I want to see their only matchup be the state meet. I want to see
I agree.
Owasso stick to Tulsa area, stick to Eastern Oklahoma, crush, do good. I want to see Piedmont just stay in OKC Metro and light everybody up there. And then I want to see the Clash of the Titans there. Are we going to get that? I don't know. We might. I haven't seen both their schedules to see if they show up both next weekend at RSU. And it's a state meet preview, at least for a team, and really individually as well, because I think Bella
Mm.
Nelson, she's kind of can win it any way she wants. The only person that might be able to upset her is Natalie Dugan, maybe. If Bella Nelson has a bad day, the only person on a bad day that could beat Bella Nelson's Natalie Dugan. Like she's the only one that like Bella Nelson could have a bad day and the numbers 3 returner, I don't think beats her. You know, like they're that good. But there's a lot of girls that are very high. Charlie Keeley, I believe, is second.
Yeah.
She is kind of one of those athletes that like we don't talk about her a lot because she, like last year was kind of overshadowed by people like, like she had Rachel Cornell on her team who was doing great things in the track season. And really, we took over paying attention in track season. We didn't really watch last cross season. This is our first cross season to cover it.
Hmm.
But she's very good. I think she honestly wasn't far behind Gwen Myers.
No.
And I really think that she probably is your number 3 right now.
Yeah.
Behind Dugan, um behind Bella Nelson. She's your number 3. We didn't get to see Sienna Collins. Her girls raced. She didn't don't know how she is. She's probably fine. She didn't have like a boot on her foot or like, in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. So I'm assuming all right. So
Mm.
she's probably just saving a little bit of energy for a little later in the season. Deer Creek, as much as we love it, as much as it produces fast times and can tell us a lot about how the state meet's going to go 2 months from now, it's still 2 months from the state meet. It's still a long time. But yeah, Claire Collins, Brooke Collins. I mean, they're going to be Piedmont girls are going to be good, but Owasso is also going to be good. Emma Johnson, she was, I
Emma
believe,
Johnson got
3.
third.
She
Yeah.
was 3rd. So move her up from 12 to like 4 right now.
Hmm.
You know, that's a big jump forward. She's a senior this year. And I believe that's it for the girls. Yeah. Sean, anything else you want to add? Like you got any interesting takes maybe from any of the now that you've
That
learned some
moment.
information you may not have known?
Oh, no, not at the moment. I need to think about the power rankings before I say anything that
Yeah.
is probably stupid. So I think you about covered it all.
And hopefully within the next week, I think I have enough free time over the next week. I can finish up getting everybody geographically sorted, which really it just takes a while because all these like little schools that I actually don't know where they are, I have to just
Yeah,
put into Google, and it's so much fun to find where this
it could
random
be a
school I
lot
haven't even heard of
for
is.
sure.
Um, but yeah, so that'll produce a lot of really interesting kind of ranking articles, so you can see how you compare to people in your area, geographically, Tulsa Metro, OKC Metro, and 4
Hmm.
quadrants, with the quadrants being separated by the 2 major interstates that go through the state. Makes our jobs really easy.
Yeah.
Although there's some schools that lie right pretty much on I-40, so I have to figure out because their town is on either side of I-40, and I got to be like, okay, which side's your high school on?
Hmm.
So then that's how everybody gets sorted. So if we mess anybody up, please let us know. We do have OKC and Tulsa metros, and I believe articles have come out, at least
They
Tulsa
have come
Metro.
out about those, yes.
Yeah,
At
so
least
there's
Tulsa.
some.
I don't know if I put out the Oklahoma City ones, so I'm
I
gonna.
think I would hold off a little bit because you could do not necessarily returners. You could kind of already get like how people look this year.
I agree. Yeah.
And so I think kind of that's what we're in the limbo of. We love mile split. We love that results are on there now. But like if we pulled up the 5K leaderboards, it's basically just the Deer Creek meet have been uploaded. It's very slow, especially in
Hmm.
cross season to get everybody in there. So we look forward to them all getting uploaded so that we can produce some really cool ranking articles for you guys for free. so you don't have to go behind the paywall and see those. But if you do, if you're real excited, real interested, and you want to see them a lot more frequently, you can, of course, get your Miles Plus subscription, see a lot of really cool content. We produce extra stuff over there, a lot of photos, a lot of videos will be going out. But of course, you can always get a taste of them on OKRunCo. Sean, anything you want to leave the people with? Any big predictions for the rest of the year? Any
Um,
maybe life advice for the kids? I don't know.
boy, life advice. Stay positive, dream big. And I'd say we like I said, we'll be at Rogers State and then we'll be at the Cowboy Jamboree in September. So
Mhm.
if you're there, please come see us. We'll have a tent. We'll do all the interviews at the tent. I'm gonna try to have some cornhole, some more interactive stuff for people to come up and hang out. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
about it. That covers it.
And and on that bombshell, it's time to end. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.